Comfortable. That was a comfortable 2-0 win. And I say comfortable because the US did not look as good as they looked versus Paraguay or Australia. But if we're at this kind of level and that's good enough to comfortably beat a Bosnia level team, then I think it says a lot about the level of this team. Oh, and by the way, Italy, that is how you beat Bosnia with 10 men. Just for all of those who are saying, man, so and so team made it, but not Italy, you can see why, because they couldn't beat this Bosnia team with 10 men. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the game. But before we get to the game, make sure you guys follow, like, and subscribe. You know, you can find all my links to my socials down in the description. And make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 3K. But let's get back to it, man. Look, honestly, not a outstanding game for the US. I can't say I'm blown away. And maybe my standards were a little bit higher considering the opposition. However, I'm not going to complain either. This was a fine game. You know, I liked what I saw out of Pulisic. I liked what I saw out of Tillman. It was an awesome free kick, by the way. And Balogun, of course, scoring a great goal. Now, we'll get to Balogun's red card shortly, but overall, I think anyone who's a USMNT fan can be satisfied with this performance. It's not, not enough to beat one of the table one teams, but look, you got to get to the next round. I don't think you can draw too much more out of this than, hey, solid performance. We're on to the next round. Let's just go for Belgium. Now we can speak about Belgium. And let's start with this red card on Balogun. So first off, for me, I understand why it's a red. However, when you look at some of the non-calls in this tournament, and in particular for one Leo Messi, who had a very similar situation, I'm a little bit confused as far as the consistency of what a red card is supposed to be. Because Leo Messi had a very similar incident where, his studs are down the calf of an opposing player, but they decided that there wasn't enough force, so it didn't deserve to be a penalty. This one, I guess you could argue there's a little bit more force. That's the only difference I can really tell between the two. You don't really get the same, bend effect with the ankle in Leo Messi's incident. However, I just want to see some consistency. For a long time, right? It's if your studs are down the calf, down the ankle, like this, pressing on it, that's a red all day, right? We've seen it in every big league, every big tournament. That's a red all day. Now, I know they're trying to up the threshold of physical play in this tournament. However, you still have to keep consistency. I don't think you can call Leo Messi's a non-red and then call Balogun's a red. I think they both have to be a red. Or they both don't have to be a red. You can decide. However, for me, I'm not against it being a red because, like, if I was a Bosnian, I'd be like, yeah, get that guy out of here. You know what I mean? So for me, I understand why it's a red. However, it draws questions to me about the consistency of refereeing in this tournament because I want to see these calls being applied the same in every game. Anywho, a bigger problem than just the consistency of calling right now is for the USMNT to lose Balogun for the next game. That is huge because Belgium, as fraudulent as I think they are still a talented team. And I don't think the USMNT can beat Belgium without Balogun. No disrespect to Ricardo Pepi, but Balogun is different gravy. If, and most likely there will be no Balogun unless, there's some like reverse on that decision. I don't know how you approach that game, man. I don't know. Like, do you sit back? I don't know. The U.S. hasn't been sitting back all tournament. Do you want to put Tim Ream one-on-one with Lukaku? You know what I mean? I don't know. And then obviously you're talking about that friendly where we lost 5-2, and that's not a great, result to go into this game, this Belgium game with. So not only are you losing Balogun, but now you're kind of rewire. I think you got to rewire a few things. Can you play the same way with Pepe? I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if he's as talented to go up against that Belgian defense. Not to say that the Belgian offense is impressive. It's really not, right? All due respect to Arthur Theod and company, I think we can get at him for sure, but I'd be a lot more confident if Balogun was in the lineup. So we're moving on to Belgium. Before we do, shout out to Bosnia for making it this far. As you guys know, the Bosnian history is incredibly, obstacle filled. So for them to get here and represent their country and their flag, Huge moment. Nice to see Edin Dzeko have his last dance at the biggest stage in football. But it was always the U.S. that were going to win this. I mean, no doubt about it. However, man, I think if we're talking about Belgium, because that's all I can worry about now. No Balogun. You're gonna have to have the best game of his life, Pulisic. You're gonna have to have another insane performance from Tillman. Dest has to be a little bit better. The defense has to be on point. McKennie looked really good today. We're gonna need more of that from him. So I don't know, man. I'm a little scared because I had the USMNT going to the quarterfinals, and I would really like to see that happen. I'm gonna stick with that prediction. However, no Balogun is such a blow, and it might just be too big. It might be too big of a blow, man. I don't know. Belgium, for our advantage, to our advantage, are coming off of an extra time game, so they're gonna maybe probably be a little bit more tired, and obviously we'll have the home crowd as well. But hopefully, I don't know, man. I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough. We'll see what happens. But man, am I worried. I am worried, man, because Balogun's probably been the best USMNT, not probably, obviously, objectively the best player for the USMNT this tournament. And, obviously his stock is up right now. So I would hate for this to be how he leaves the World Cup. He's got some history to make, man. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And because of how they didn't call that on Leo Messi, I am still a little bit, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit annoyed that that was called a red card on Balogun. I understand it's a red. It is. But man, it's just like you look at the level of physicality that they've been showing on in this tournament. The level of refereeing where they're saying, "Okay, you know what? You guys can be more physical. You guys can get in there, get stuck in there. We won't call it. We'll be more lenient." I would have liked to see that today. Biased, maybe, but hey, I just say what I think. Anyway, big win for the US. Go on to the round of 16. Look, if we can beat Belgium, who's to say? Who's to say? No, Belgium is no benchmark. But I'm trying to keep the vibes up, man, because the vibes are what matters. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy Ollie Footy. We'll see what happens next time for the US. As for Bosnia, this is the end of the road. But yeah, make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe yet again. Until next time, it's been your boy Ollie Footy. We